Roger that. Got traffic there. Last there, just take it up to the departure end of the runway, then a left turn and a left downwind. Cessna over the threshold, coming up on the white dot, at or beyond the white dot, left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land at or beyond. Traffic on the left face, you're following a Cessna down, low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed. There you go. Go, 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 go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final. You're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold. Take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final. Runway 9 clear to land.
Okay, all right. Let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you to offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Oh, we had one right in front of us, sir.
Dragger. Let's see. What we got? A tricycle. Tricycle. Put it down. Tricycle. Put it down. Tricycle. Put it down. Tail dragger. Down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here. You clear to land on 9 all the way to the white dot. Go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Canard, just come to the runway, and I might have to just send you around. That'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern, or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Canard's going to have to go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. You do not descend. Do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. There you go. Keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. You can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, I lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the downwinds. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you're clear to land runway 9 on the white dot. Clear to land on the white dot. There you go. And the tricycle left on the hard surface and follow the flagman. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. And let's see, just find somebody to follow out follow on the final. And as you get close to the runway, if it's not going to work, we're going to send you around and then try to resequence you. Now, who else got sent around that's not back on the downwind? The Canard?
Yeah, Canard.
All right, Canard, there's a Gulfstream up there that went around too. I just lost sight of him, but you're going to make kind of a left-hand turn and stay low. I think Charlie Sierra, what's your altitude?
3,200.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just maintain VFR. I don't know what else is up there above you. Probably most everybody's down here, so just make a left-hand turn. We'll try to get you back here.
Canard's got the jet in sight.
Okay, the RV, maybe an RV-10, whatever, you're on final. Keep your speed up and go all the way down to the, aim for the green dot for me. Actually, keep your speed up. There's a guy behind you. Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around. Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that after 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. Keep it airborne. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there. Go ahead and put it down on the numbers. Put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep it.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello.
Four, 3, 2, 1.
Hello!
Hello!
Good evening. evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us tonight. Hang on, there's definitely something looking a bit weird here. Someone looks a bit rough.
That's a poor excuse for a joke. Joke
It is, I know. It's great to be back with Fly Livestream after the summer break. What adventures have you been on? Please let us know in the comments. And you'll notice that there's no Ian tonight. He's unwell, so he's missed the first one back. And we've got Teaspoon. Hello, Teaspoon. Yes, he's like, what's going on? Teaspoon is Annabelle Cook's dog. Yes, look at that face. Who couldn't love that? Oh, beautiful girl, yes. and so appearing any moment now will be Annabelle. Annabelle, are you there?
No. That's us.
She was doing such a good job. I thought I'd just let her get on with it.
She was doing brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes. So, hello, Annabelle. Thanks for joining us. Our guest tonight is record-breaking pilot Steve Noujaim. He'll be appearing a little bit later on to talk about his fairly epic life of flying. But first, thanks to our sponsor SkyDemon, and we're back with the first of the top tips, and it's the fantastic Tim.
Hi, I'm Tim from SkyDemon. Welcome to this week's top tip. In the latest version of SkyDemon, if you've planned an international route, you've probably noticed that here in the Airfields tab, we now have little buttons for the countries you're planning to overfly. Pressing one of these buttons takes you to the country information page. You can also get to the country information page for any chart you've got installed by going to all countries here. In the country information page, you can get to all the AIP documents for the country, and we also include curated links to resources outside of SkyDemon that you might find helpful. Most interesting, however, are the airfield league tables. The first one simply shows which airfields are the most popular in the country, together with little arrows at the side that show any trend in popularity over the last 12 months. Next, we have popular with international arrivals. If you want to visit a foreign country for the first time, this shows you where other people flying into that country from abroad make their first landing. Finally, popular foreign destinations shows the most popular airfields for people leaving a country. So if I want to fly abroad from the UK, I can see that the most popular destination for other pilots departing the UK is Le Touquet. You can touch any airfield to jump to it on the map, then go to its information in the normal way. For our full user manual, go to skydemon.aero and choose Help and Support.
Blimey, that's good. I didn't know they had that. That's really useful. Anyway, we got some great comments. Catkin says, Ian's looking a bit husky. Woof, Ian's looking better. Welcome back. You've been missed. Thanks, Russ. We've missed you too. He doesn't look any different to me. Michael Roberts says, I bet the postman hates delivering to Annabelle. I can't believe that. I bet Teaspoon is a wonderful recipient of parcels.
Yeah, the postman actually stops on his rounds if he sees us out on walks, gets out of his van and comes and gives her cuddles.
With all that floof, it's not surprising, is it? So, team, what have we been up to in the summer? So, obviously, tell us in the comments what you've been up to. Johnny, have you been up to anything exciting? I know you've been doing some ATPL stuff, haven't you?
Yeah, did some good flying as well. Managed to took the RV into the shortest strip that I've done so far, which was Brown Shutters.
Ooh, that is quite short for an RV.
It was, yeah, it was good. It was good fun. We had a camp over, five of us, in a few C-42s, RV, Vagabond, and a Stearman,
Fantastic.
which was a really good little summer weekend away.
Very good. Annabelle, what have you been up to? I guess you've been spannering.
Yes, indeed. We took the ailerons off Big Red, and then we put them back on again, and then we took them off again. And now we've taken some inspection hatches off, and yeah, it's kind of 3 steps forward, about 6 or 7 back at the moment. But
Big Red is your glass star that's hopefully getting closer and closer and closer to flying. But
I hope
hope your list of tasks is getting smaller. I know there'll be many things left now.
You'd think not, but
yeah. And Dave, what have you been up to?
Well, I've been looking at various microlights. There's 2 considerations. Can I get in the thing in the first place?
Yeah.
Because some of them are quite tight. And if I can get in it and fly it, is there any? What's the payload going to be? I was very keen on a thruster until I found basically there's very little payload. So with me in it, and probably Jack, my dog, because he comes everywhere with me, there's probably not a lot left. So still looking at those at the moment.
Fantastic, very good. And I've been obviously there was Oshkosh. You will have seen the videos. I've been working on the Cub, which is getting closer. Though some of you who took part who've been taking part in the when will the Cub fly sweepstakes, I think it's still going to be autumn or winter by the time that happens at the moment. But,
which year?
Well, no, I'm hoping this year. I'm going to go out there and actually name a year at least. So, but like everything, it goes slower than you think. So, Jane says, important question: does Teaspoon fly?
Teaspoon has been flying. So Mark Saunders of this parish took her flying when she was very little, and she fell asleep until he landed, and then she did wake up. And she's been flying a couple of times with us. So yeah, the plan is that she will be a regular passenger.
Very good, very good, great. Okay, so what's next?
I think it's time for the weather, and we have Simon live with us tonight.
Look, we have a real live.
How are we?
Fantastic. Great to see you, Simon.
Yeah, good to see you too. Summer's done then. That's it. We're back to it.
Did it ever start?
Well, it was kind of there for a short time, wasn't it? Let's be honest. I think probably around June the 15th, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I've seen the sun briefly, but you know.
Yeah.
Is that shirt an Ishihara test? Are there actually numbers written on it that we can't see?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. If you can't see him, Annabelle, there's no way you're going in that aircraft.
Oh.
All that building for nothing. So yeah, it was an interesting one, wasn't it? I tell you what, I'd be fascinated to know is from. I know this will probably be, sort of just a bit of guesswork, but I'd be really interested to know whether people flew more this summer or less. I'm guessing it's going to be less, but I'd really like to get a few numbers in that and just see just how poor it actually was, because we seem to put numbers across everything else. So why not? How often it's possible to fly?
And certainly the rubbishy weather has made me more motivated to try and fly when the opportunities are presented themselves. So maybe that's had an effect.
Yeah.
Have you flown more? Tell us in the comments.
Yeah, I've been getting calls here as well from pilots through the summer, and we seem to have had more this year from people wanting to spot windows, obviously, but also it seems like there's been more flying going on generally. So I'd just be interested to know about that. There's one for us to kick off with.
Someone's got my share then.
Yeah. There were places that weren't that bad. Should we get on and do a bit of weather?
Yes,
absolutely.
Let's. Well, if we can switch to the charts, there we go. Look, I've just put this together for you. This kind of just sums up things. I was thinking, how can I present a chart that sort of says what summer is? So this is the surface pressure anomaly through the summer, from 1st of June through to 31st of August. So that's meteorological summer. Purple colours telling us that pressure has been below average. If there were any greens and yellows on there, it would tell us that pressure has been above average. What a surprise. Look at that. Below average, set up towards the northwest of the UK. That kind of sums it up, doesn't it? It sort of passed us by. But as I say, I think there were a few windows in there. But yeah, I think that just says it all about summer 2024. Let's forget about that, shall we? Should we just scrub that out of the way and pretend that it never actually happened? Okay, so let's get on to other stuff, and we'll take a look at what the forecast is for the next few days. I'm just going to expand my screen out a little bit there. That's better. Okay, so this is where we are then for tomorrow, for Friday. Low pressure in the Bay of Biscay. That thing is kind of stuck down there for much of the weekend. Got this occluded front across southern parts of England. That's bringing some rain. You see the green colours there. And just a reminder that the chart that we've got here is cloud ceiling. So that's when we get more than 5/8 of cloud or broken cloud in any particular location. And the heights are shown down here. So red is bad, green is getting better, no colour is absolutely brilliant. You can see here across southern England, basically it's non-VFR for much of the day. But for other areas, breezy down these eastern coasts as well. On to Saturday, a bit of a mucky start on Saturday across central areas of the country. That will lift, though. Mist will gradually lift. And although it looks pretty bad on here on the cloud ceiling, I think this is basically the picture for mid to late morning. But those bases will lift. And actually, Saturday is not looking bad. There could be a fair bit of broken cloud ground, but I think generally bases are up at about 3,000-4,000 feet, tops at about 8,000 to 9,000 feet. A little bit concerned about visibility Saturday, perhaps bit of haze around 8 to 10 kilometre visibility for many of us, but not a bad day apart from in the far southwest where there might just be a little bit of rain on southern coasts. Then we get into Sunday, when we're going to see low pressure dominating things on Sunday across the south. An interesting little system this is. Well, it is to us meteorologists. Just seeing this thing spin up and move through the channel. What it does do for us as pilots is, quite frankly, just buggers things up for us on Sunday across many parts of central and southern England. We've got rain around, we've got low cloud, may briefly become circuitable locally, but generally it looks pretty breezy. Low cloud bases below about 1,000 feet, tops on that are going to be up at 12,000 to 15,000 feet. But across northern England, Scotland and Ireland, much better conditions here, bases above 3,000 or 4,000 feet, so looking better there. So generally not the best of weekends, but just spare a thought. If you were down in the southeastern Mediterranean at the moment, I was just looking at the significant weather chart for there. That's the kind of thing I do. And tops of Cunims tomorrow forecast to be 45,000 feet. Wow. That's the top of the Cunim cloud, and we think we've got it bad. But anyway, there you go. Whatever you do, have a great weekend. I've just announced my next Aviation Weather School online. This is the Part 1 course, which is going to be on the Wednesday evenings of the 18th and 25th of September. Already booking up on that. So if you want to find out more about that, go to weatherschool.co.uk, and I'll show you what you really need to know about the weather. There you go. I'll see you next week. Bye.
Fantastic, Simon. Thanks very much, and we'll catch you next week.
Good to be back. See you, folks. Bye.
See you. Bye.
Oh,
cheers, Simon.
Great to have Simon back, and great to have weather. Even if it's not the best.
Yep.
Annabelle. Oh no, Johnny.
Yeah. So, question of the week. That's next up. So, did you? Well, there was the return of the LAA rally, full rally this year, last weekend at Leicester, which was really good. So, let us know in the comments if you went. I've already seen at least one person.
Yeah, look at
mentioned the LAA rally in the comments. It was good to see Paul there and lots of other people as well.
6-day flying trip. Look at that. Fantastic. Annabelle.
Yes, so flyer free landing fees for club members this month. We have Jersey and Beccles, and I believe both of those are new to Flyer. So big thank you to those guys for supporting us. Netherthorpe and Enniskillen, equally, they're sort of long-term supporters. So yeah, thanks to them as well. We have coming up later this month, Lucy from the LAA will be running a webinar on the 17th September. She'll be talking us through permit maintenance and how pilots can, excuse me, and should work with inspectors. If you missed it, the last last webinar was with Andy from Andark on ditching and dunking. You can get that on catch up. That was a brilliant webinar. I really enjoyed that one. And all those webinars are available on catch up. If you're not a member, why not? It is just £5 a month. And if you use all those landing fees this month, that will cover your cost for the whole year.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And who doesn't love saving money? So, yeah, very good. I'll just get rid of the ban now. Sorry, because I'm clicking around. There we go. That's gone. And I guess it's time for the news. And like Johnny said, did you go to the LA rally? Because the big news is the LA rally is back. And those were the words of Light Aircraft Association CEO Simon Tilling after the weekend's very successful rally, which was held at the new venue of Leicester. I say new, Leicester was actually the home to the rally in 1979, 1980 and 81. The event saw the return of the UK's biggest recreational flying event. It's 3 days. LA claimed more than 300 aircraft, over 100 different types, and thousands of visitors from all over the UK and abroad took part in the event, and it certainly was spectacular. Weather on Friday was brilliant, just stunning. Saturday was pretty nice too. Turned a little bit overcast and breezy. Sadly, Sunday at Leicester was glorious. Eventually got glorious, but the forecast for everywhere else was the good old Met Office gave a yellow warning for thunderstorms, and I think for a lot of people there was localised bad weather. And while Leicester sat in the sunshine, I think lots of other people couldn't get to it. So I'm just a fantastic event. Johnny, you were there. Dave, you were there. Annabelle, you were there. What did you guys think of it?
There was one.
I thought it was excellent. No, I genuinely thought it was really, really good. So yeah, I drove up with Paul Singupta, and we didn't manage to see everything. We were there all day, and there was so much going on that we could have easily spent a second day. Yeah. And it was the parking area. Unless it's got a big grass triangle delineated by the runways and taxiways, it's an area that was used back in the rallies of old for parking, and that was put into use for parking again this year. There was a really good trade exhibition area, and they had aircraft, as you can see, crammed in all over the place, all around the airfield as well as parking area, and a grass runway and a hard runway, which was fantastic. It saw a whole bunch of aeroplanes that previously, and we've had the two grassroots fly-ins as kind of holdovers from the LAA rally that was last held at Sywell. Not all aeroplanes can attend. All the canards tend to not appear when it's on grass. So this was this, along with the move to a kind of more northern kind of central location, I think made it much more popular. We had lots of overseas visitors. There was a lot going on. Leicester Aero Cup were fantastic in terms of keeping. There was lots to do on an evening. There was great food, great breakfasts. So there's a bit. Ian's given us a little bit of video in here as well, which we've got a video from the event, which was done on the first day. There's a bit of a montage. So this was drone footage from the Leicester Aero Club. That was kind of peak on Friday lunchtime. Airfield was full of aeroplanes. Lovely Chiltern there. Whole bunch of visitors. Trade shows were very, very that was all very active, and loads of spotters. And that looks like the Optica. Lots going on in the tents. Obviously, learn how to do woodwork, metalwork, a whole bunch of skills for your LAA home building. And there were a whole bunch of fantastic award winners as well. So Concours winner was a beautiful 1928 Travel Air 4000 owned by Tom Lever. Best plans built was a Jodel D140 Musketeer. Amazing. This was a guy called Wesley Massam, and he built this over 20 years on a barge in the middle of Bristol City docks.
Wow.
He said, I wouldn't have started if I'd known it was going to take so long. So best kit built was a really lovely Vans RV14A, a chap called Ian Condy, who'd come in from Ireland. Roger Benson spent 20 years restoring this Piper Cub Coupe, which is incidentally an aeroplane that I have got a bunch of hours on. I used to fly this many, many years ago. But that was breathtakingly just a gorgeous restoration. Young chap, St. John Youngman, had spent a long time rebuilding his Lasers Z200 and won the Best Home Built Award. So that was really well deserved. That's for home builts over 25 years old. Fabulous SE5 replica that had starred in that was built for some films. That was restored by Matthew Boddington, and this was Best Classic Aircraft and Replica. And the most meritorious arrival was 87-year-old Archie Allardyce, who flew in his Jodel. And he's been coming to the rally many, many times, and he got his most meritorious arrival tankard from Simon Tilling there on the left. And Archie's grandson and son were there. So there's 3 generations of one family.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So, I've lost track of the comments. Did you go to the rally? I'll have a look while the next news story comes up, which is Dave, you.
Yes, yes. So going to push on a bit now because we're running tight on time. Active carbon monoxide detectors will be compulsory in most piston engine aircraft from the 1st of January 2025. The CAA said that last week in a safety directive. The CAA said this is because a number of accidents have been linked to the gas. The 2020 Air Accidents Investigation Branch Review since 2000 identified 2 fatal accidents, each with 2 fatalities and 15 other events. The good news is that almost any kind of active detector is acceptable, whether industry standard or off the shelf. So the days of the old paper disc stuck to the panel are over, and probably not before time. I mean, Ed, you've run some various active detector tests, and you ran one where it was picking up serious levels of carbon monoxide.
Yeah.
But the disc was indicating nothing at all.
That's it. I you know, the little discs. We've all been familiar with those in our flying lives, but I won't say that they're next to useless, but they probably are. So yeah, active detectors. I'm a big fan. So yeah, definitely. Annabelle. Bristol and Wessex.
Yeah, Bristol and Wessex. This is a really sad news that Bristol and Wessex Aeroplane Club will be closing in February after 97 years of business.
So sad.
So the club was founded in 1927 at Filton, moved to Whitchurch in 1930, and in 1957 moved to the site that would eventually become Bristol Airport. The current owner, Barry Bailey, bought the club in 2009. This was after falling in love with aviation while working on HMS Ark Royal, but he's now decided to concentrate on other business interests.
97 years, it almost made the century.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how many other flying clubs have been around for so long.
Yeah.
So I've got a bunch of airfield news now. First, the Strategic Airfield Network has sent out its latest report in a newsletter. The highlights in the newsletter include they want to get people to comment on a possible change to the definition of an airfield as a brownfield site. This has been going on for ages, but apparently there's a possibility to change this in the what's known as the National Planning Policy Framework. But there's a deadline of 24th of September to comment, say things. There's the stories on the website, and I think we've got a link somewhere. And from there, you can see the link of where to go and make comments. Other things in the newsletter include more airfields joining the strategic initiative, 118 in total now. They've all identified as being strategically important. A map has been created to show the distribution of the network within the UK. Police and UK VFR Flight Guide are to highlight the strategic airfields in 2025 editions. There's a bunch of information which is mostly useful to airfield operators on the importance of of airfield safeguarding. This is a process by which you make you say your airfield is important. And finally, there's a focus on Tiverton Airfield. You can download the newsletter from the Flyer website directly, and you can also download a copy of that map I was talking about. Moving on very quickly, there's another issue at Gloucestershire Airport. The RMP, the GPS approach, is out of action at the moment because the NDB is out of action, and it cannot be flown without that. There's a briefing bulletin from the airport that said, as part of our 5-year review, the RMP charts are being amended to remove dependency on a conventional ground nav aid, such as the NDB. But this review is subject to CA approval, and it's unlikely to be changed until summer of 2025. So the GPS approach at Gloucestershire Airport is probably not going to be available for quite some time.
That's not so good.
That's not very good at all. They've got a bunch of problems going on there, which they are working their way through. There's been some news about the ATC unit, which has now got more people under training, but it's a long process to train people and get them approved. So they're tackling the problems, but there are some big ones. Finally, on airfields, it's not exactly airfields, but it's the Flyer Forum fuel price league tables are back. They're in the forum. There's a link somewhere we can put in. But basically, these show the prices of fuel prices of 100 LL Avgas, UL 91, and Jet A1. at various airfields. It shows the up and down who's got the best price at the moment.
There we go.
There's a link there to the forum with the tables in.
Yeah, links in the comments there. Our LAA rally video, if you want to watch that and you haven't seen it so far, is that's also linked in the comments. And there's some good comments. Simon Gunn said rally was good compared. Camped with the aeroplane for the first time. Just a shame the local farmer. Yeah, local farmer decided to spread dark all day Saturday, which was upwind of the event and right on the edge of the camping. That was very kind of him. Julian Treadwell says restoring a laser. God, I'm getting old. Mike Roberts, the LAC curry was top notch, generous portion. Yeah, no, it really was. LA was great. I made the mistake of asking Annabelle if she flew in.
That wasn't a mistake at all. You did it on purpose.
Chris Holiday says thanks to all the LAA team, Leicester Aero Club, and the North Wheeled Marshallers, who are fantastic, smiley, and brilliant at keeping all the aeroplanes moving, and all the volunteers. There were loads of them, and it just made a really great event. And Doc has the final word. LA rally was awesome.
Yes, it was.
Very good. I'm looking forward to next year. I'm guessing, it was a big success there. Hopefully it'll go to Leicester again. So, and I guess a very quick little bit of news. I think you've got, Annabelle?
Yep. So you may remember that back in April, Derek Paik and Squadron Prince announced a £2,000 scholarship for flying for fun. The winner has just been announced. So the winner is Amy G, who flies with Airability, and she impressed the judges with the story of the challenges she has faced in her aim of learning to fly. I know Amy a little bit. She's a British Women Pilot Association member, and what she really wants is to actually become an instructor with Airability. So I wish her the best of success with this. It's brilliant.
That's fantastic.
Worthy winner.
And I certainly saw Derek at the LA rally. He was his usual enthusiastic, cheery self. So great to see him.
He had brownies.
He had brownies, did he? I think he's a very lucky chap. I heard a terrible rumour you put fruit in your brownies this year, Annabelle.
But it was a bit of dried fruit, but I did soak them in rum, so not all bad.
Sounds like Christmas cake brownies. So, yeah, so with our news out the way, it's time to bring in our guest. Johnny, have you got an introduction?
Yes, so tonight's guest is, you may have heard of him, Steve Noujaim. If you haven't, he's a former fighter pilot for flying the Lightning and Phantom, as well as Hawk and Tucano, and turned instructor and airline pilot, and also most well known to the GA community for taking on Alex Henshaw's 1939 London to Cape Town and back record, with Steve completing it in 3 days, 11 hours and 16 minutes. So we'll have a quick... Steve, thanks for joining us.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
So let's talk about the record, first of all. Why? What made you want to do it?
I don't know if anyone's... A really cracking read is called Fly to the Mugol by Alex Henshall. I read it when it first came out, I think about 1981. Pretty inspirational, exciting adventure type job. And I thought, wow, impossible. One day I'd like to have a go at it. Everyone told me it was impossible, which made it even more tempting.
So in terms of, if you go into it with the mindset of it's impossible, there's lots of things change between in aviation, between when Alex did it, between when you did it. In some aspects, it's probably more difficult because you're dealing with countries and politics and overflights and all of that malarkey. How long did the preparation take? When did you actually first seriously sit down and start doing things?
I started talking about it. When I was flying for the old flying machine company, for whatever reason, there was the Mugol sitting in the hangar, and Mark Hanna was looking after it. None of us could get in it. It was too small. This is a real shame because I was desperate to fly it. We had a good look at that and looked at the numbers and the speeds. And frankly, you say things have changed, but I tell you what, single engine piston performance hasn't changed. Really, that thing goes like the very devil. It'll happily cruise at 180 odd knots.
Wow.
So, you then go and look around and see what you can find that goes that quickly. glass air, but really heavy. And then you look at an RV that could go carry a lot, not quite as quick, but go for a long way in a long time. And actually, having messed about with my RV in post the record at low RPM settings, I reckon I could probably eke around about, with the Cape fuel setup, probably 18 to 20 hours out of it. Yeah, that's at 18 inches and 2200 RPM leaner peak at 5,000 to 7,000 feet. And you say, because obviously you built your RV7 kind of with some mods specifically in mind for this trip, didn't you? And what is, you talk about the Cape fuel setup, an RV7 normally just has wing tanks. What did you have to do? Yeah, so an RV7 normally has, quickly doing sums because I worked it in gallons because it's an American aeroplane, but we'll talk litres because we're here still. So nominally 160 litres, isn't it? 42 gallons. So in the tips, each tip I managed to squeeze in 46 litres a side. And then in the fuselage, front footwell, and in the right-hand seat, another, well, basically made up to 498 litres total capacity. Okay. And at max continuous or wide open and 2400 RPM, giving you all the numbers now, it would run at around about 32, 34 litres an hour and give me true between 171 and 176 knots, depending on the weight of the aeroplane. Lots of attention to detail, mostly from gliding. I didn't mess about with the engine, didn't run high compression pistons. I didn't dare do that because the thing needed to be reliable as anything. Yeah. So gap sealing, any joints were sealed, any gaps were filled, and the thing was smooth. I've got a plenum. The inlet area is slightly smaller, a few other little tricks and jobs. We have to be careful how many mods I declare in. But no, really, joking aside, it was all attention to detail. The spats were really tightly fitted. The, small wheels, the standard wheels, rather than the 600s that most people run nowadays. Yeah, and you put a fairly sophisticated panel fit in as well, didn't you? Yeah, so I got sponsorship from Garmin, and they gave me a G900X. So we managed to shoehorn that in. Useful for nav. I mean, you talk about differences between now and Alex's time. Most of the stuff was pink in Alex's time, so he could fly direct routing. With me, airways, airspace, and all the other stuff. So that came in really handy. So for me, I think uppermost in his mind would have been navigation. For me, it was getting performance out of the aeroplane, stopping less, staying awake longer. The human factors side of it were probably equally challenging. What hasn't changed is you got to cross the equator. And Taffy Smith did it after me, 6 weeks after me in his glass air, and basically got soaked out of the sky, instruments packed up, water leaks, which I had. I lost an alternator, backup alternator. I ended up on the backup alternator for a bit and a few other things. And, +6, -2G, 5.5 hours in a thunderstorm. Wow. The rain issues, and this is the, because you're dealing with the intertropical convergence zone, aren't you? Well done, yeah. Yeah, so basically, Simon mentioned the top's up to 45,000 feet, 50, 60,000 feet. It's not unusual. I picked the time of year. It's either really you want to cross either April or September. And funny enough, we're 2 days out from 14 years ago I got back. And I looked at the ICTZ today, and it's pretty horrible. On the way southbound, I had a bit of training in the rain. Unfortunately, despite my best efforts to try and get an exemption and IFR and everything else in this country, couldn't get it. So the first time I ever flew it at night was max all-up weight out of Tamanrasset, 4,000 feet above sea level. I launched in daylight, but then went into night. So the first time I ever flew it at night was then. Didn't make any odds. It's just dark outside. Aeroplane doesn't know, and with that kit, it was okay. But the weather, the rain, when it rains there, it really does rain. When the sun goes down, it's like someone turns the light out in a room. And you just got to sort of grit your teeth and hang on in there. It's basically a rite of passage for that record, I think. And certainly I had to lean on all my previous RAF instrument training, F4 flying, towel overhead, just fly the attitude, forget the rest of it. Just keep the thing on roughly an even keel. One stage I was at idle and going through 16,500 feet in the climb at VNE. Going up at like 6,000 feet a minute. Another, a bit further on, you're at flat chat, full power, going down at sort of 2,000 feet a minute through MSA. It's tasty stuff. But I do recommend it for anyone else that wants to have a go.
I think I'm right in saying that when Henshaw did his trip, was he was navigating, he had all the Shell road maps, didn't he? That kind of concertinaed out, and he had this huge long trail of maps to follow. Was that the
he had sort of like a toilet roll type job which he wound. He and his dad flew the western route, and then the east came back east, I think, that way around the year before. So they recce'd the whole thing beforehand, which was a sensible move at that time. And they managed, because if you can face to face with someone and say, look, I'm going to be there at such and such a time on such and such a day, and I need this. And in that time, I think people would listen. Whereas, nowadays you may or may not be lucky. I mean, I put Sam Rutherford down at Tamanrasset to cuddle my fuel because I wanted to be blooming sure that there was blue 100 LL down there when I turned up, both directions.
Yeah.
And then in Brazzaville, I got some chaps, Phoebus Apollo from South Africa, to look after my fuel, helped by Chalky Stobart, who, by the way, did it the other way around the year before and bettered Alex's time, but FAI didn't recognise it because it's in the opposite direction. So, yeah, technically, but I still beat him, so it's still back here. So that's the main thing.
And you talk about the aeroplane being at max rate. Did you, with all the fuel that you had on board, did that take you over the max gross weight for the aeroplane, or did you manage to do it within that?
No, I got it. It's got to be below 1,000 kilos, but I got approval from the LAA, from Francis, who was helpful. He challenged me a lot on things, which was, on reflection, the right thing to do. But so I increased. So Manuel Quiroz had gone around the planet in his 6.
Yeah,
and the fuel system that I used is the same as Romeo Victor's, the same as his. So I basically plagiarized. I nicked his idea, and seemed to work. All gravity fed, no electric pumps, nothing. Just because we wanted to keep it as simple as possible. So I got a lot to thank Manuel for, a few others as well.
There's lots of scary sounding moments, but were there any moments where you were sat in the airplane going, God damn it, this is great fun?
No. No, I would say it's a job. It's a record, and it's like any sport or anything that you strive for. You train for it, you prepare for it, you visualize it, and then you go and do it, and you stick to the plan, and you really have to work at the plan. I spent all my time getting that aeroplane to go as fast as it would go. 1 knot, 20 minutes additional time. So, it was a matter of moving the fuel about so that I could keep the CFG in the right place. Where I ran the CFG, it was aft, shall I say, in order just to get rid of all the trim drag.
Because that's how you go fast. Yeah.
So, and actually, if you've got an RV, the trick is just to look over your shoulder and see if the elevator's in line. That's the starting bit. But before I went, I did 80 hours of testing. I did a 14-hour trip non-stop. I did, funny enough, I was looking up some stuff and I replied on the forum today. I did Gloucester, Land's End, John O'Groats, Land's End, Gloucester, 8 hours 50. But I wanted to break the record Land's End, John O'Groats, which stood at 3 hours and 2 minutes or something in a glass air, and I did it in 2:39 in the RV. So it's an average like 196 knots. Good tailwind. Wait for a cold front. Just zoom down the back of a cold front. And spoke to Scottish and a few other people and went direct, basically. Very interesting. Most of it's over water. You wouldn't believe. Yeah.
Catkin says, was it necessary to use any of the old school bribery method to get things done when you were abroad?
Funny that. Somebody asked me before I went, are you going to take a gun? And I said, no. I took $6,000 in cash. And honestly, I didn't have to use a bean.
Wow.
Not at all. No, everyone was fantastic. The guys in Brazzaville, Ben, Amadou, what a dude, basically had me a hotel. He booked me a hotel. I said, look, I'm not staying. so I went and had a shower and lay down for 10 minutes, got up and got back in the aeroplane, because each turn I turned around Tamanrasset. It was 10 hours and 5 to Tamanrasset, and I was in Tamanrasset for an hour and a half, basically touchdown to takeoff, and then 10 hours 40 to Brazzaville, 2 hours in Brazzaville, then 10 and a half hours down to the Cape. So the total time from Southend to Cape was 35 hours and 5 minutes, of which 3.5 hours was on the ground. So 32 hours 30 flying.
Wow.
How did you keep yourself awake?
Yeah.
If you go out to a nice high building somewhere with a good stiff wind and stand on the top edge, you won't fall asleep. That's what it's like, really, because I unfortunately, with the Merlin, I think I've had 2 Merlin sort of, I lost all the oil in a Merlin and force landed it in North Wales at a place, Anthony Hodgson's place, actually. And I had a Centaurus, which I put down in Yeovilton when I was testing their Fury after it was rebuilt. And then 2 or 3 in the Tucano. I had a 250-foot engine failure in Tucano. So I was fairly triggered about single-engined aeroplanes and engine failures. And it was uppermost in my mind, to the extent that when I got to Cape Town, I was absolutely flat knackered. I went to bed and I could not sleep, because every time I shut my eyes, the ringing in my ears stopped, and I would wake up. So, yeah, I think if you're suitably scared, you won't want to fall asleep. I did feel tired. I don't deny that, but I mean, when I got back, I went for we went in Southend, stayed in the hotel, got to the hotel wired, couldn't sleep, and then got up the next morning, flew to the rally, and spent the day and did the prize giving at the rally that night.
Nick Allen says, dare one ask about the toilet arrangements? I'm guessing there was a relief tube involved.
Yeah, they're gliding again, relief tube. Yeah. I'd learned on the Scottish jaunt to John O'Groats that using a what's the way they called? Those, not the Lady John, the bloke's version.
Oh, the Little John.
Whatever they are, Little John doesn't ring true. But anyway, so I used a pack of those because I did like to stay hydrated, and I came back and it all went into a Tesco's bag, and I weighed it, and I think it was like 6.5 kilos. And I thought, well, I'm getting rid of that. So basically, ended up with a relief tube out the bottom of the aeroplane.
LA mod.
No, it's temporary because it was a tube right out the back.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, and then I just pulled. It's not in there now. Shall we leave it at that? So yeah, that was it, and the rest of it is you read up your Apollo guys going into space stuff and look at what they eat, and then you haven't got a problem.
Okay. Yeah. But I'm guessing he had a little bit more comfort than Alex had in the Mughal, because famously he had to be lifted out, didn't he, at the end of his end of his run. You didn't need to be lifted out of the RV7?
No, I didn't. I was close. I did have 6 weeks of physio, and I was completely numb from the middle of my back to basically the tops of my knees for 6 weeks.
Really?
I mean, my sciatic nerve was just shot to bits.
Good.
So I empathise. Space-wise, yeah, he was a smaller bloke, but space-wise, yeah, it was tight fit for him.
I think we have got a photo of you. Yeah, so clearly it's a small cockpit, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Alex was 5'4", 5'5".
Yeah,
and I'm just shy of 6 foot, and you can see the turtle deck. There's just no way I can shut that canopy without slouching somewhat, in which case it moves you too far forward to move the stick and stuff. So yeah, it doesn't fit me.
Yeah, and I think
I don't think it would have fitted Edgar Percival either.
Well, because when he built it, on the original Mugals were quite a lot taller, weren't they? The cape configuration was Henshaw famously had a guy in Essex. Was it? I'm trying to remember his name.
Jack Cross.
Jack Cross. That's it. If you read about Cross, was very much. I don't think he would have got on very well with LA Engineering, because he was like Mr. Overnight fix for anything, and it's like make it possible, but they would make it happen and not worry too much about it.
Interesting. That aeroplane, Martin Barraclough, God rest him, lovely man. He was managed my push really, but him and Tom Story rebuilt the Mughal.
Yeah,
and they had long conversations with the gaffer, as he was known, and basically Percival's designer said Henshaw's aeroplane was not any quicker. It was quicker with the R engine in it for the King's Cup, but as a standard aeroplane it wasn't. And there was the last Mughal built, which they burned on the fire dump at Luton, and that was gaffer, I think. And there's going to be some aficionados going to correct me now, but that was the one to have. That was the fast one, apparently.
Fast one, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But even then, that Mughal was quicker than a Hurricane.
Yeah,
at low level.
Wow.
And I was surprised at that until I came out of Goodwood one day and I caught up Stu Goldspring and Dave Harvey in their Hurricanes and took some pictures and then went home and overtook them. So, yeah, the Hurricane in a dive probably quicker, but not in a cruise.
Yeah. And and obviously the Cape record was an astounding achievement, but you went on and did a Dawn to Dusk challenge as well, didn't you?
You say dawn to dusk, you see. You've got it wrong, Ed. Dusk till dawn.
Oh, it was, wasn't it? You did it the other way round.
I did it the other way round. So on the longest day, shortest night, I thought, oh, it'd be a bit of a laugh. So I've filled up, because the big fuselage tanks are not in the RV. It's back to a two-seater now. So I've just got the tip tanks and the mains. So I launched at sunset out of Renkham, and I went across to Grafham Water and then up to Scapa Flow and then back down to Grafham Water. And then I was early, so went past Renkham into Wales and then turned around and came back and landed at sunrise. So 7 hours 22, I think it was. Wasn't very long. I just floated around, thought it would be good. It's nice to do it the other way around. I don't think anyone's done that. So took a mug of coffee, flask, and that was it. And I wouldn't come.
And after all these things, have you got? What's left to do for you, or have you gone? You've gone. My record-setting days. I've done that. I'm just because you're very heavily into your gliding now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm into my gliding now. I was interested to see that gentleman. What was he? 87 that turned up at the LAA rally.
Yep.
Carl Strydick has just won the 20-meter two-seat World Gliding Championships, aged 87.
Okay.
Wow, really?
That is just something for all of us to look up to, because we're all thinking, oh, the whole thing's getting a bit old and we're getting long in the tooth and we should pack up. Really inspiring stuff. With a lady called Sarah Arnold. So I'm into my gliding now. I'm subject matter expert for the All Party Parliamentary Group. on aviation airspace. So airspace is my thing. I have a, well, probably misplaced desire to try and simplify UK airspace. I think there are some real, since Bryce Norton, which I think you know, I came on and talked about Bryce. There are some real opportunities for GA, and if all we do is comment on various airspace change proposals, basically we sort of end up as a bit of moaning minis. Probably better if we come up as a cohesive general aviation. I include sport and recreational, gliding, and all the other bits and bobs. We come up with a holistic general aviation solution and go to the regulator and say, this is what we think we need. This is what we think we should have. We've got just as much right as CAT or anybody else. If they want to make money out of airspace, that's for them. But if we want to use it, then we should be allowed to, and we should have access. And the first thing I'm going to do, or want to do, is remove Class A and just have Class C. So there you go.
3 thumbs up there from Darren at Aerotiques.
Yeah, there you go.
Not surprised. Well, fantastic, Steve. We can listen. I want to stop you and ask you about the Spitfire. Did you say you had a Merlin failure and a forced landing?
P51.
P50 in 60 seconds. Give us the P51 forced landing.
P51, no oil. 7 minutes, no oil pressure. Lost all the oil, and I'd spoken to a guy called Anthony Hodgson who had a Spitfire. And he told me he had a strip in North Wales by the A55, and I was bloody lucky I found it and stuffed it in there.
Wow.
And stopped. And a man came out and gave me a whiskey. And then the police helicopter landed, which I was like, honestly, I wasn't drinking beforehand.
And you just happened to remember that was nearby.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Wow.
Otherwise, it would have been a field, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Gear up into a field, it would have been.
Yeah. And I guess that was your time with the old flying machine company?
No, that was Paul Morgan's P51. That was Susie.
Okay.
Yeah.
And obviously, you flew for OFMC. Was it great working with the Hannahs?
Yeah. Well, Mark and I knew each other at Wattisham.
Yeah.
When with Phantom, he was just coming to the end of his career as I was sort of just starting as a junior pilot. And there was a bit of, Mark. So no, we always kept in touch. Then he let myself and Andy Gent play with Yak 50, and we set a team up, and then we started flying for him. And then I moved across and flew for Paul Morgan.
Amazing. And favourite of all the Warbirds? Because you flew a lot, didn't you?
I would say if you're going to war, it's a Corsair. If you want to cruise around the place and have a nice time, P51.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
On that note.
Good choice.
On that note, Steve, thank you very much. And a great, tremendous guest for us returning with Livestream. I'm sure there's other things we can get you back on to talk about again in future. Good luck with your airspace challenges. I think we can all get behind that. Just lots of gliding. Hope flying brings you lots of safe gliding. So
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great stuff.
Thanks,
and
Steve.
Yes, Steve.
It's time for Fantasy Hangar. Oh, it's a giant Johnny. Well, I feel we have great guests. We're so lucky to have great guests on the live stream, and with Steve, it's no exception. I feel like I've not achieved very much when you listen to someone like that talk, because I'm just a warbird fly and all the record stuff, and to do that with your own home built is tremendous. So fantastic. But anyway, Fancy Hangar inspired by Steve's appearance, talking about his record-breaking exploits in permit aeroplanes, and obviously Alex Henshaw was too, though we didn't know it. We decided to pick record-breaking permit aeroplanes for our Fantasy Hangars. So who is first? I'm going to name Annabelle. Well, no, maybe I won't name Annabelle. Dave, you go. No, Johnny, you go first.
Did you say Dave or me?
No, I did. Yeah, I know we're going to be a bit left at lights with Dave, so we need to do you first. Before Annabelle explodes.
Right. Yeah, I've gone for the Chiltern DW1. Which
nice.
Apparently, A Chiltern was the very first permit issued after the Second World War, which was Alpha Fox Sierra Victor, apparently, and did compete in a Folkestone Trophy race, an FIA Class A, which was a 100-kilometre closed circuit, recorded this average speed of 123 miles per hour. And of course, that's with a sub 2-litre engine. And they're I think they're great. One day I'd like to at least fly one, maybe have one day.
They are beautiful aeroplanes. There was a the black and gold one in that photo was for sale on A4s I think it was last year, and I had to sit on my hands and not dial telephone numbers because I'm not sure I could ever build one, but lack of hangar space stopped me from buying one. It's probably a good thing. So,
what colour would you have, Johnny?
I do like the red one that was at the rally.
Oh yeah, no,
whiskey.
That was built by a guy called Chris Barnes, and yeah, that was beautiful aeroplane. So very very nice. Dave, what have you gone for?
Well, I've gone for a proven record breaker, a record setter. That's the Shark Microlight, similar to the one that Zara and Mac Rutherford flew around the world on their various trips. It's now available in the UK as a 600-kilogram microlight, and it's look at it, it's lovely. It's fast. It's got a max cruise speed of 162 knots. This is a microlight, remember. It's got a maximum rate of climb of just over 1,400 feet per minute. 2 seats in tandem, as you can see. It looks really unusual as well. I really like the little shark gills at the front. Obviously, I'd have to have a big shark face painted on the front of it. And obviously, you can see there, it's retractable gear. I think it's just a brilliant. It all runs on a Rotax engine, so fairly straightforward to run.
Well,
great performance, proven aircraft.
Well, we'll have to give you a pass because it's a permit aeroplane. We were thinking LA permit aeroplanes, but this could be a BMA permit aeroplane too, I guess.
Yes. It's a permit aircraft. I think that was the definition.
Technicalities. Annabelle, are you all right now?
For a bit, yeah. I'll manage. So I have gone for a Percival Vega Gull. So this is a 1930s British-built aircraft, powered by the Havilland Gypsy 6, which has a drag-reducing shape. And that means that the Vega Gull was ideal for winning races and breaking records. That included Beryl Markham, who used an aircraft called Messenger to make the first non-stop solo transatlantic crossing by a woman, and at the same time, the first east-to-west solo crossing. And that was in September 1936. So the Vega Gull was developed from the D-series Gull, which they added a 4th seat, dual controls and split flaps. The fuselage was widened, the wingspan was increased. Of course, that increased the drag. So to compensate for that, the exterior fittings, such as hinges and flanges, were reduced.
Very good. Nice choice. And gotta love a Vega Gull. I think that's been in Ian's fancy hangar in the past, and who wouldn't go for something like that? That just leaves me, and I picked this. And
of course,
we've talked about it a little bit. It's still around today. It's up at the Shuttleworth collection. It operates. It's on a permit. It's one of the LA fleet, like a lot of the things in the Shuttleworth collection. It's the most famous of the 5 Mugulls made by Percival in 1934 to 38. Henshaw traded he had a de Havilland Pussmoth at the time, and this Mugull had been built for a guy in South Africa. He swapped his Pussmoth for this, raced it in the King's Cup, where we were talking earlier about the engineer, the cross-trap engineer, and he gave Alex one of the Gypsy R engines out of the de Havilland Comet, Grosvenor House, and I think that made it uber fast. And so he set a King's Cup record. I think that might still stand today. And obviously, then went on to make the amazing record flight in 1939. Alex his flight was 6,377 miles in 40 hours. He then spent 28 hours in Cape Town and retraced his route back to the UK, and that was 39 hours 36 minutes. It's a lovely aeroplane. A bit like Steve says, I think I'd rather have the earlier Mughal with the taller canopy if I was going to fit in, and I think it looks a little bit prettier. But the Mughal is just, I don't think sometimes you don't even have to be flying it to just admire it in your fancy hangar. So it is cracking. What are you guys saying in the comments? Rich Salmon says, I've only just joined the stream tonight, and I'm alarmed to see that Annabelle's mascara has run. Has someone upset the poor girl?
Ed does it on purpose.
I don't know. I don't know what you're on about. No, Annabelle's gone. DH88 says Catkin. Oh, yeah, good choice. Yeah. What else have we got? Johnny wins. Johnny wins. Sheldon says, ooh, a shark. Strong work from Dave. As I said, Dave wins. Stole my idea. That's cheating, Ed. No one's called a winner. No one's called. Oh, no, okay. It's Annabelle. There we go. Ed wins, but original looks better. Big Johnny wins. Dave wins. Johnny tonight. I do like the Chilton. The Chilton is a
Nuge has put a suggestion in the chat.
Is he in the private chat?
Yeah, I don't think we can show it.
We can't flag those up, but no. So Steve has suggested Spaceship One, which is an experimental home built, and obviously is. I mean, that's about as good as records get when you go in and out of space in a home built. So that's pretty good. Annabelle wins. Johnny wins. We can't let Dave win with something that costs 280k. Chilton's a delightful. There's even Teaspoon wins. So I think, it's lovely, Ed, but I'd like to be able to see where I'm going. So Annabella wins. There we go. I'm going to call it for Johnny. So
yeah, I think that's a good choice.
Yeah. So Dave, there's a bunch of events happening. There's last flurry of nearly summer, even though we're in autumn.
Well, I think this is probably the last big weekend of the season. There's a lot going on, starting with on Friday to Sunday, there's a Goodwood Revival. Obviously, that's not a flying event primarily, but there is aviation stuff going on there. And of course, if you think of flying down to Goodwood, it's a bit different. So also on Friday to Sunday, Ordinary having their big flying of the year. Saturday, Western Zoyland flying. Also on Saturday, St. Athan Family Fun Day and Fly. There's a lot of F's in that. Look, St. Athan Family Fun Day and Flying. Saturday, Barton flying. Saturday, flying and barbecue at Longside. There's another flying at the Oster Club flying at Skegness. Over Saturday and Sunday, there's a summer flying meeting at North Coates. Saturday and Sunday, there's pork pie flying at Crosland Moor. Sunday, tailwheel flying at Kirkbride. Also on Sunday, the Cornwall Strut flying at Bodmore. Now, obviously, you do need to check before going into any of these because the weather is has been a bit iffy. Looks like it's going to be okay, but just do check before going.
Very good. And final thought of the show, Nick Allen says, can we give Annabelle's dog a regular slot? Teaspoons, pause for thought. Well, we'll talk it over with her agent. I suspect we won't be able to afford it. But, who knows? So it just remains for me to say, guys, thanks for joining us. Annabelle, thanks for filling in for Ian. Steve, thanks for being a brilliant guest. And viewers, thanks for returning and joining us for the return of Livestream. And obviously, have a great flying weekend. We'll see you next week for Livestream next Thursday night. Do we know who the guest is, Annabelle?
Yeah, the guest next week is Sarah Flaherty. She's a human performance specialist with experience across safety critical industries, including aviation, and she's currently working with Luton Airport.
Fantastic, that sounds good. And Fly Club members, we'll see you for Livestream Extra at 3 p.m. on Wednesday. So thanks, everybody. Have a great evening, and I'll see you soon.
Bye.